Simon Peter embarrasses himself with his first sermon in The Chosen Season 5. As Jesus begins to send out his disciples and have them preach the good news to bring people to him, they realize that it might not be as easy as they once thought. In today's video, we're going to look at clips from week 5 of The Chosen Season 5 filming, which includes some very interesting moments and scenes that we're going to talk about today. So, without further ado, hello, my name is Eli Hollingsworth. Welcome back to Against the Current, The Chosen podcast, and let's go ahead and roll that intro. Assistant. Now, in this video, we can see Jesus and his disciples walking up a hill, all holding torches, and the caption reads from Adam Drake, "The photography of this season is going to blow some minds." Now, as the seasons have progressed in The Chosen, not only has the budget gotten bigger, but the quality level has improved. We've seen huge jumps in the quality of the production of The Chosen as the seasons go on. The cinematography just keeps getting more awesome. It looks better, it feels better, it's just so much cooler. They're building their own sets now, but Assistant Director Adam Drake promises that this season's photography is going to blow some minds. That's an exciting thing for him to say, and as the seasons and cinematography keep getting more and more awesome and, epic and bigger, the stories also get more intimate, and we get to see a closer look into these characters' lives, and that's the most important thing, because the special effects, the big, grandiose, it doesn't matter if we don't care about the characters. So, very exciting. Can't wait to see the cinematography of Season 5. Next up, let's roll this clip from director Thaddeus Jenkins.
When that servant went out, guess what happened? He found one of his fellow servants who owed him.
Now, this clip is super interesting because we see Simon Peter actually fumbling on his words and failing to preach a sermon correctly. This is going to be super interesting to see. So I guess Simon tries to give his first sermon here in The Chosen Season 5 and ends up not doing it to perfection and maybe learning that he has to build up a little bit of practice before he can preach a sermon accurately. But we're seeing the beginnings of Jesus' followers, starting to come to him and start that process of sanctification after you're in Christ, and Peter is learning along the way that there may be some steps needed before he can reach the rank of godly super saint like we all know him to be from later in the Bible, even though he still makes mistakes. This is going to be a really interesting scene to see. This is actually very exciting to me, and we'll see later in the next clip how he's discouraged, but the sermon that he's trying to preach here is actually the parable of the unforgiving servant that we see in Matthew 18. This is a lesson that Simon in particular had to learn in the beginning of Season 4, Episode 2, when him and Matthew resolved their, relationship. In that same chapter where Jesus tells Peter about forgiveness, he gives the parable of the unforgiving servant, which is what Peter is trying to preach here. He says, that servant went out and he said to the other servant, as you can see, the crowd here is not impressed. But next up, let's roll the next clip from Thaddeus Jenkins.
It's never for them to take him down. Jesus. Yeah. Yes. Peter is not the Messiah.
As you can hear, Simon Z, Peter, James are talking to someone who we can't particularly see. I don't think he's kind of off screen or either of that or being blocked by the cameraman. But they are talking about perhaps how Peter's sermon might have been a bit underwhelming. And Simon Z says, well, Peter is not the Messiah. Maybe he's saying so he can make mistakes or just clearing up any misconceptions that the people have, that thinking that Peter was the Messiah and that, why is he messing up? Or Peter is not looking very happy as he's standing there off to the side, kind of being grumpy about maybe how he feels about his first sermon. Either way, again, this scene is going to be super fun to see, and I can't wait to see the progression of this and where it falls in the show. Now, finally for this scene, let's look at this quick little video from Assistant Director Adam Drake right here. You can see this is kind of an overhead shot of the scene that we were just looking at, but Simon is kind of motioning kind of extremely at someone. It looks like maybe it's Thomas, so I don't know what Simon is saying to him or if it's someone else, but just another cool little angle for this scene. It's going to be interesting. But moving right along to day 20, we have this video from director Thaddeus Jenkins right here.
With the utmost and highest.
So we can see these temple guards here. They're standing by the temple, and there's Pharisee greeting this temple guard as he walks up to maybe bring him something. He says, of course, the highest something. It's kind of hard to make out what he says, but these temple guards are dressed in blue. Maybe this connects us to the Watcher, who is the character from season 4, episode 7, who we're still wondering who he is and what his involvement is. Maybe he's tied to that, or maybe that's how he's involved and fits into this. But these temple guards are standing here at the steps of the synagogue. Super interesting. Can't wait to see what this means. And speaking of, we have this video from our director, Dallas Jenkins, right here.
Action!
Now in this scene, it's nighttime, and we have two men carrying a wagon rolling through the streets of the city. Now, the character in the hood could either be two people. One, the Watcher from Season 4, Episode 7, the one who we're still trying to figure out who he is. Or it could be Thaddeus, because we're going to talk about in the next few clips, Thaddeus is wearing a hood, and he's going around kind of incognito. So, looks to be possibly the Watcher, and that means he's sneaking around at nighttime, and we're still so interested to see who this guy is, what his involvement is, and how he's going to fit into all of these events unfolding in The Chosen. Super exciting, but let's move on to the next one. Here we see Thaddeus, and we can see this picture right here of Thaddeus in his hood and kind of, sneaking around. This is going to be interesting. I think we might get a little bit more backstory on Thaddeus, or a little bit more insight to his character here in Season 5, because we know that we're going to get a scene later where we possibly see the first time Thaddeus interacted with Jesus. We'll talk about that later, though, in the coming videos. But it'll be interesting to see what Thaddeus is doing here, and we might get some more focus on him and just kind of his backstory, his character, his lore, per se. That's going to be really fun. But this scene's going to be super interesting to see when we see Season 5. Next up, we have this picture from a night shoot that happened on day 22. Super interesting. Going to be fun to see that. Night shoots are always fun. And finally, we have this video right here of day 23. It seems that the scene was being filmed here was out in the field, and there was the disciples out in the field, possibly for a Roman graveyard, which we'll see in a few videos. But there's a giant storm that came over the crowd, and in classic Chosen fashion, they had to delay and change up some of the filming because of the extreme weather conditions happening in Texas. The Chosen usually runs into some kind of weather, complications, but it seems that this season the filming is running pretty smoothly, so that's a good sign to see. Either way, all of these clips, super cool. Can't wait to see all of this stuff in Season 4. Let me know what you think about all of this down below in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts, your theories, and of course, make sure to subscribe to Against the Current of the Chosen podcast to stay updated on everything happening in the Chosen community. I'm excited for ChosenCon, excited for Season 5 filming to wrap. I'm going to try to catch up on all of these Season 5 filming videos before the season filming ends in just a few weeks here. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Binge Jesus.